Also, I could come up here and click present to everyone, which is fine too. That goes out to if you have a public um, hangout, it'll be presented to anyone who happens to see it if they have a link. So I I usually go ahead and click that. It doesn't really matter, but I've started the broadcast here and we're now broadcasting. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to minimize this window and we're going to come over here and minimize that. Oh, before I do that, let me go back and I want to show you something here. Let's go back here. Right here, before I continue, let's talk real quick about setting up this. I'm going to click edit here. And I can actually come in here and do some advanced settings. I would not recommend that you go through this and set up all of these and all of these options right here. You can do this when it becomes a video. When it's on YouTube, you can come in here and enable, disable different items, things like whether it's promoted. Since it's just a training video that we're going to put into YouTube and it's going to be basically unlisted, which I'll do later. I can change that. And as far as seeing video statistics, all of this can be changed later. So I just, before we went into the actual demonstration of showing it screen to screen and moving around, I wanted to mention that this is something that you can do later. It doesn't really matter right now, but we'll come back and do this later when we get it into the YouTube, when it becomes a YouTube video. So let's go back. And we're back here now. So now we're actually recording. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to minimize this recording. I'm going to come up here. Now, if I want to stop the video at any time, I would come over here to my control and I would click stop broadcast. And we'll do that in just a minute when we finish this up. So I'm going to come in here and go to present. And now I'm looking at my screen of my slides. And I'm going to hit the right arrow to move through the slides. Now, let's suppose this was a product that I wanted to create. In fact, I've created this product, and all I did was go through these slides and talk through them just like I'm doing now. And you can see I'm hitting the right arrow or the down arrow on my keyboard as I move through the slides, and I'm hitting, going through my paragraphs, paragraph by paragraph, clicking the right arrow to go from one paragraph to the next. And then when I get down to the bottom, and I finished talking about that slide, I hit it again and it goes to the next slide with a transition, and you can see that I can go through here and talk about it. Now, at any time I want to, I can move over to one of, say, one of the browsers and look at the different browsers that I have open, and I can have different pages open to represent different things. You can see that I can move down and look at the browsers and with the up and down arrows. I can go over to a file if I wanted to. This is a file that I've opened that's a text file, and I can move down through this and talk through it if it was a product and explain what I'm doing, or I could actually even copy and paste some of the text out of the file onto a Google slide presentation if I wanted to. So this is how you do that. I can go back and forth, and I can come back to my slides if I want to. I can go back to the browser and then go back to the slides again, back and forth, just like that. So this is a really, really easy way to generate a product. All I'm doing is talking through my slides. I'm task switching between browsers and files, in this case a browser, and in this case a file, and I can go back and forth between them and come here and go to the next part of the slide and just hit the right arrow, go through it, well, just like that. I can talk about any of the slides I want to, go through the summary of steps, explain what I'm doing, and my contact information at the end of my presentation. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm basically finished with my slides, and I'm going to go back and stop the broadcast. Now, the way I do that is I just hit escape on my keyboard. I'm going to come back to my Hangouts here, and I'm going to click the stop broadcast. Now look what happens when I do that. I'm going to click